The walls in District Attorney Maria Rodriguez's office are literally shaking. Linda Hartwell stands before Texas's most powerful prosecutor, hands trembling. The metallic sound of handcuffs fills the room. 8 years federal prison, Rodriguez's cold voice shatters Linda's dreams. Systematic fraud, elderly abuse, property theft. But how did this story get here? It all started 8 months ago at Cedar Creek Ranch in Texas Hill Country. And how did I, an ordinary veteran, end up taking a woman to federal court? My name is Jake Martinez, and I'm going to tell you the biggest battle of my life. This wasn't just a property dispute. This was a fight for my family's survival. When I say battle, I'm not joking. I did 2 tours in Afghanistan, escorted convoys under roadside bombs, ran from Taliban snipers, tried to save fellow soldiers from blood loss. But the war at Cedar Creek Ranch was more brutal, because there I knew my enemy. I could see the Taliban, hear their AK-47s, predict where IEDs would explode. But here the enemy had disguised herself as a neighbor, carrying a clipboard, driving a white SUV, bringing cookies. Linda Hartwell. I'll never forget that name, because this woman didn't just try to steal my property. She tried to tear my family apart, destroy my son's life, taint my uncle's legacy, even destroy my sanity. But she never calculated that I don't give up, systematically collect documents, wait patiently, and most importantly, do absolutely everything for my family. 8 months ago, when we moved to Cedar Creek, we were desperately seeking peace. My wife Sarah and I wanted a peaceful life after returning from Afghanistan. The suburban life in San Antonio was weighing heavily on us. Traffic sounds triggered my PTSD. Sirens reminded me of incoming mortars. Even neighbor kids playing sounded like enemy radio chatter. Noise, people constantly in a hurry, concrete jungle where you never see stars clearly. I was fighting daily with PTSD, nightmares every single night, cold sweats, hypervigilance making normal life impossible. Sarah was also struggling with severe depression after miscarriage. We'd lost our baby at 7 months, and grief was suffocating us both like thick Texas humidity. Our 16-year-old son, Tommy, is on the autism spectrum, but has an absolutely incredible bond with animals. In the city, he felt completely overwhelmed. Constant sensory overload, social anxiety through the roof, meltdowns almost daily from overstimulation. Doctors consistently said rural areas would provide therapeutic benefits for him. Animals provide him comfort that humans never could, natural environment calming his nervous system. My Uncle Carlos's ranch was absolutely perfect. 4.7 acres of pristine land that stretched from highway to creek bend, a handmade native limestone house that looked like it grew organically from the earth itself, and Crystal Creek's clearest waters running through the property like a liquid diamond ribbon. Carlos had built this place completely with his own hands after returning from Vietnam. Every single stone placed with military precision, every beam cut with a veteran's love for permanence, every nail hammered with determination forged in Asian jungles. Every morning, while making coffee, I listened to the creek's gentle murmur, that familiar sound echoing off limestone walls like whispers of 60 years of memories. Morning mist rising from water, like spirits of all the family gatherings, all the Sunday dinners after church, all the Christmas mornings these walls had witnessed through 3 generations. Every stone wall had been placed with Carlos's blood and sweat. He'd quarried the limestone himself from the hills behind the property, his hands bleeding from the rough work, his back aching from hauling massive stones with nothing but determination and a Vietnam veteran's stubborn refusal to quit. The wooden beams were cedar he'd cut with his own chainsaw, each beam carefully selected for strength and beauty, aged to perfection by Texas weather. The fireplace was hand-built from Hill Country's most gorgeous limestone, big enough to heat the entire house during brutal Texas winters, warm enough to gather around during summer thunderstorms. The smell of cedar smoke would fill the house during cold evenings, mixing with Sarah's cooking and Tommy's laughter echoing off stone walls. Tommy genuinely smiled here for the first time in years. While petting our horse Rusty, his usually anxious expression melting into pure joy like ice cream in summer heat, he asked, "Dad, can we stay here?" With hope in his voice I hadn't heard since before the miscarriage. In that moment, this became our forever home. Tommy's autism transformed here from burden to blessing. His intuitive connection with animals was absolutely incredible, almost supernatural understanding. Rusty, a 12-year-old quarter horse with gentle brown eyes and patient temperament, responded to him immediately like they shared some secret language transmitted through touch. When Tommy brushed Rusty's mane, the horse would lower his head and close his eyes, completely trusting, breathing slowly like meditation. We had 3 chickens, Henrietta with her proud strut and regal bearing, Clementine always pecking at Tommy's shoelaces with affectionate curiosity, and Big Bertha, who ruled the coop with iron discipline but gentle heart. Tommy collected daily eggs from them, perfectly understanding each one's unique personality, even naming the eggs based on which hen laid them and what mood they were in. Sarah started a vegetable garden with passionate energy. First time since miscarriage, she showed real enthusiasm for something, kneeling in dirt with tears of joy. Tomatoes that grew thick and red like summer sunsets, peppers that made your mouth water with anticipation, squash that spread across the garden like nature's own green carpet, herbs that filled the air with incredible scents mixing basil, rosemary, and oregano. Thanks to the creek's fresh mineral-rich water, everything flourished absolutely beyond our wildest expectations. She'd spend hours with dirt under her fingernails, sun kissing her face, finally looking peaceful again for the first time since we lost the baby. Her garden became her therapy, her connection to life growing again after devastating loss, proof that beautiful things could grow from pain. The first month was absolutely perfect beyond description. Every morning at first light, with coffee sitting creekside on a handmade cedar bench, watching morning mist rise from crystal clear water like nature's own meditation session. Loon calls echoing across the valley, cattle lowing in distance like peaceful symphony of rural life. Tommy and Rusty together taking morning rides along creek bank. Tommy's genuine laughter mixing with Rusty's gentle whinnying, sound of healing happening in real time. Sarah humming old love songs in the garden, hands dirty but smile genuine and bright. Life returning to eyes that had been empty too long. For the first time in 3 painful years, we deeply felt family peace. No sirens, no traffic, no overwhelming stimulation. Just natural sounds and clean air and space to breathe freely. Until I met Linda Hartwell. When Linda first came, she looked like the absolutely perfect neighbor. 52 years old, immaculate appearance that screamed expensive money and calculated control. Blonde hair perfectly styled, like she'd just stepped out of a $200 salon appointment. Designer blouses never showing a single wrinkle even in Texas humidity. Makeup applied with professional precision that could survive nuclear apocalypse. Her teeth white as fresh snow with veneers, smile practiced and calculated like a politician's campaign photo. Spotless white BMW SUV, leather seats spotless like showroom condition. Every surface gleaming under Texas sun, like she polished it with diamond dust. "I'm from Cedar Creek Estates HOA," she said, that practiced smile never wavering for a microsecond, professional greeting that felt rehearsed in a mirror. Welcome gift. In her hand was a perfectly wrapped cookie box, Martha Stewart style, ribbon-tied with precise bow that probably took 20 minutes to perfect. Presentation absolutely flawless. Her speech was so polished, clearly extensive sales training from expensive corporate consultants, every word carefully chosen for maximum psychological impact. Every pause strategically calculated, every gesture designed to project simultaneous authority and friendliness like psychological warfare manual. Even Sarah was immediately impressed, always seeing good in people, even when evidence suggested otherwise. "What a thoughtful neighbor," she'd said later while enjoying cookies. "These cookies are incredible, like professional Martha Stewart recipe quality. Linda radiating competence and caring, exactly what you'd want in a community leader protecting property values." "We just have a few small community guidelines," Linda continued, voice warm honey but underneath a detectable hint of tempered steel. "To protect property values, of course. Maintaining neighborhood character is essential. Nothing's really a burden when you understand the benefits. Everyone eventually complies happily once they understand how rules benefit everyone." The rules list was a 47-item professionally typed document, legal language throughout written by expensive attorneys, official letterhead that looked government-issued and intimidating, professional presentation, impressive, thorough, absolutely intimidating to average homeowner. Fence height specifications down to exact inch with surveyor precision, vehicle parking restrictions with detailed diagrams showing legal positions, landscaping requirements including approved plant lists with Latin names, authorized paint colors, comprehensive chart attached, dozens of choices all approved by architectural committee with graduate degrees in design, pet registration forms requiring comprehensive veterinary records, noise ordinance hours strictly enforced with decibel measurements, recreational vehicle storage regulations rivaling military base security. "Don't worry," she laughed with a laugh that sounded genuine but felt calculated. "Everyone eventually adapts beautifully to community standards. Welcome to our wonderful neighborhood family. Cedar Creek Estates is the pride of hill country. Property values consistently rising above market average, community standards maintained excellently through resident cooperation. But there was something in her eyes that made my military instincts tingle, cold, absolutely calculating sparkle like predator evaluating prey. Shark eyes, Sarah later accurately described. Eyes that evaluated everything for potential value, assessed weaknesses, calculated maximum advantage from every interaction. That night, I told Sarah, "There's definitely something about this woman. Instinct from combat training impossible to ignore." "Jake, you see automatic paranoia in everything," Sarah said patiently. "She's just a well-organized woman with community pride. She simply prefers rules because structure creates harmony. No big deal, really, just adjustment period." I wish Sarah had been right. I wish Linda Hartwell was just obsessively organized with good intentions. But that night, I started extensive research. Military training, automatic habit impossible to suppress. Enemy assessment, threat evaluation, intelligence gathering, pattern recognition. And what I found completely froze my blood with implications. 3 weeks later, the first official correspondence came. Thick envelope, certified mail requiring signature with return receipt. Serious weight suggesting multiple legal documents. Meticulously professional document titled Courtesy Notice, printed on expensive letterhead. Linda's company letterhead, impressive and official looking with corporate design. Hartwell Property Management, LLC, address matching expensive part of Austin, multiple phone numbers, and professional website lending credibility to operation. Dear Martinez family, recent comprehensive property inspection, carefully noted several serious violations, systematically documented with photographic evidence. Property boundary fence height significantly exceeds HOA architectural standards by exactly 3 inches, creating visual inconsistency and potential safety hazards according to municipal codes. Violation, fine $500 initial assessment. $75 daily accumulation until complete compliance achieved according to schedule. 30 days maximum correction period. Absolutely no extensions granted under any circumstances. Additional inspection fees $200 for professional assessment time and documentation. Failure to comply promptly results in immediate lien placement and potential serious legal action, including foreclosure procedures. The fence they were talking about was the beautiful handmade cedar fence my Uncle Carlos had personally built in 1967, weathering every storm for 55 years with incredible resilience, incredibly resistant to wind and weather, aging gracefully into gorgeous silvery gray patina. Carlos had carefully placed every single plank with his own battle-scarred hands, measuring twice, cutting once with veteran's precision, pride evident in every perfectly aligned joint. Now, Linda was demanding $500 immediate payment for 3 meaningless inches like some kind of bureaucratic extortion. "This is absolutely impossible," I said, immediately calling Linda, voice steady, but anger building like pressure cooker. "This fence is dramatically much older than your HOA. Its historical value is enormous for family heritage. Family legacy represented in every board." Her voice had immediately completely changed. Sweet, helpful tone instantly disappeared, transformed to crisp business voice like Jekyll and Hyde. "Mr. Martinez, previous ownership situations are legally completely irrelevant regardless of sentimental attachment or family history. Current regulations apply uniformly to all properties regardless of construction dates or emotional significance. Compliance is absolutely mandatory, non-negotiable under association bylaws." For the first time, I clearly felt the real Linda through phone connection. This woman wasn't just mechanically enforcing rules for community benefit. She was doing a deliberate power trip for personal satisfaction, systematically exerting control over neighbors, deploying intimidation tactics expertly like psychological warfare. That evening, Tommy, with confused expression while petting Rusty, asked, "Dad, why did that initially nice lady suddenly become upset with us?" With innocent confusion. Tommy's autism causes him to struggle with reading social cues, but he senses emotional undercurrents incredibly, detecting atmosphere changes with almost supernatural accuracy that amaze doctors. "Not upset exactly, son," I said carefully. "Just a professional misunderstanding, probably over paperwork." But in my heart, I clearly knew with military certainty. This was just the beginning of a systematic campaign, storm clouds gathering, battle lines being drawn with precision. The second warning came exactly 1 week later, like clockwork precision. This time, an absolutely comprehensive 12-page violation report, professional presentation rivaling federal legal documents. Linda was now completely in gloves-off mode. Friendly facade totally abandoned for bureaucratic warfare. Professional photographs attached showing every supposed violation from multiple angles. Detailed measurements with surveyor's precision rivaling NASA calculations. Legal citations referencing obscure HOA regulations and precedent cases from other communities. Unauthorized agricultural activities, referring to our modest vegetable garden with language suggesting massive commercial farming operation rather than family food source providing fresh vegetables. Unauthorized livestock maintenance, treating Rusty and our chickens like illegal animal smuggling operation rather than beloved family pets providing therapeutic benefits. Unauthorized water usage, describing normal irrigation from creek like massive environmental violation rather than traditional ranch water use practiced for generations. Each single violation's penalty was exactly $1,000 with no explanation for arbitrary amount calculation. Total demand $4,200. Immediate payment required within 15 days. No payment plan offered despite economic hardship. Late fees accumulating $100 daily after deadline like compound interest. Legal action threatened if payment delayed beyond 30 days maximum. Complete property line authorized by HOA regulations, section 47.3.2. Foreclosure proceedings possible under extreme circumstances according to association bylaws. This is absolutely insane, I directly confronted Linda on the phone. Military training controlling my temper, but barely succeeding. My uncle built this beautiful ranch before your HOA even existed by decades. These aren't legitimate violations. These are cherished family traditions spanning multiple generations. Mr. Martinez, Linda's voice now ice cold, completely professional, but absolutely threatening, like corporate lawyer, HOA regulations are seriously enforced without exception, regardless of previous arrangements or family sentiment. Non-compliance inevitably results in escalating legal action through court system. You certainly wouldn't want to lose your property, would you? That was an absolutely direct threat like verbal slap. Something dangerously triggered inside me. Military training immediately kicked in automatically. Carefully identify the enemy. Systematically find their weakness. Methodically develop counter-strategy with precision. That night, I started absolutely serious research about Linda Hartwell. Deep internet dive using military intelligence techniques, comprehensive public records search through multiple databases, social media investigation with forensic thoroughness, professional background verification through official channels, financial history examination through legal means, military intelligence training applied to civilian target with systematic precision. What I found was absolutely shocking, worse than imagined in worst-case scenarios. Linda Hartwell's extensive background was a clear pattern of criminal activity, predatory behavior spanning multiple states with consistent methodology. In 2019, serious real estate fraud charges permanently revoked her insurance license, multiple elderly victims involved, significant financial damage in 6 figures. In 2020, civil lawsuit for elderly financial abuse, forced settlement, pattern of targeting vulnerable seniors for systematic exploitation. In 2021, she suddenly moved to Cedar Creek from California, immediately aggressively targeting HOA president position, campaign promises to dramatically protect property values, rigidly maintain community standards. The most absolutely disturbing discovery was Cedar Creek HOA's incorporation date with highly suspicious timing. When I carefully cross-referenced with Uncle Carlos's death certificate, shocking truth completely emerged like bomb exploding. HOA was mysteriously established exactly 2 months after Carlos died, timing absolutely not coincidental, but calculated. Formation paperwork prominently featured Carlos's clear signature, official documents bearing dead man's authorization for association membership, dead man's signature, impossible circumstances defying logic. No immediate need for forensic handwriting analysis. Obvious fraud evident to naked eye. Carlos could barely write legibly in final months due to severe arthritis handwriting, shaky and painful, requiring assistance. These signatures were too neat, too confident, too healthy for dying man. Obviously professionally forged by someone with criminal enterprise experience, systematic operation designed to steal from vulnerable families. Federal elder abuse crime with serious prison time. Linda wasn't just doing random harassment for personal satisfaction. She was carefully conducting systematic fraud operation, business model based on exploitation of grieving families, specifically targeting deceased property owners, financially pressuring helpless family members during vulnerable mourning period, systematically collecting completely illegal fees, taking calculated advantage of Carlos's untimely death, deliberately exploiting family vulnerability during most painful time. But I desperately needed concrete proof, court-admissible evidence, witness testimony, financial records, pattern documentation, professional investigation, meeting legal standards. That night, I reverently opened Uncle Carlos's old military trunk, with ceremony it deserved. Vietnam War memorabilia carefully stored with veteran precision, memories preserved with military discipline, Bronze Star citation for exceptional bravery under fire, faded photographs showing young soldier in jungle fatigues, personal letters home describing battles and brotherhood forged in combat. And at the very bottom, most valuable treasure, original property deed, dated 1961 with official state seal, hand-drawn survey map, professionally attached by county surveyor, legal language precise and clear, despite age. While extremely carefully reading the deed, my hands visibly started trembling, implications absolutely staggering for case. Legal language complex, but meaning absolutely clear. Rights comprehensive and exclusive beyond modern understanding. Exclusive water rights specifically granted in perpetuity. Mineral extraction privileges clearly included for all subsurface resources. Fishing and hunting rights, permanent regardless of future development. Easement access guaranteed through state authority. Property boundary survey accurately extended exactly 60 feet further west than anyone currently realized. Original survey markers probably moved or destroyed over decades of development. Linda's prized rose garden, elaborately developed with $15,000 major investment over 3 years with imported soil and exotic plants, was completely built unauthorized on my legally owned land. Criminal trespassing, property theft, unauthorized improvements, illegal landscaping worth thousands. Ironically, Linda had been doing continuous trespassing for exactly 3 years while systematically accusing me of violations. Legal ammunition was clearly in my powerful hands, but timing was absolutely crucial. I needed to patiently wait for Linda to make significantly more mistakes, evidence accumulating like compound interest. Next morning, Tommy came running in panic from barn. "Dad, Rusty is terribly sick." Horse collapsed on ground, severely foaming from mouth, eyes rolling back, obvious distress and suffering. I immediately called emergency vet. Dr. Sarah Williams rapidly arrived in exactly 20 minutes. Professional assessment immediately quick but thorough. Definite poisoning, clearly intentional. Systematic water source contamination. Deliberate sabotage obvious to veterinary expert. Emergency rush to creek for water testing. Normal crystal clear water was distinctly murky. Strong metallic smell, overwhelming sensitive nose. Chemical residue visible floating like oil slick. Upstream inspection carefully revealed fresh tire tracks and mud. Deliberate chemical residue with industrial smell. Obvious sabotage evidence. Intentional environmental crime against animals. Security camera system, immediately professionally installed with comprehensive coverage with night vision's capability. Much more for life protection than legal protection. Family safety, paramount concern. Someone was actively trying to harm our innocent animals with criminal intent, potentially directly threatening our family. Linda's escalation was rapidly moving to extremely dangerous territory beyond simple harassment. From simple harassment to active sabotage, from financial pressure to physical threats, from intimidation to criminal activity with serious consequences. Dr. Williams's warning was absolutely clear, deadly serious about immediate action. Keep Tommy completely away from creek until comprehensive testing complete. Test all water sources immediately for contamination. Document absolutely everything meticulously for legal proceedings. Exactly 3 days after this terrifying incident, Channel 12 news van unexpectedly arrived at our peaceful driveway, disrupting morning calm with media circus atmosphere. Reporter Jessica Morgan aggressively extending microphone toward me, cameras rolling immediately for live broadcast. "Mr. Martinez, would you make official comment about your neighbor's very serious complaints? Are reports of aggressive veteran behavior accurate? Are community safety concerns absolutely valid for public awareness?" What? I'm completely confused by ambush interview tactics, unexpected media attention. Who exactly filed complaint? Who's the authority with what evidence? Linda Hartwell specifically claiming multiple violations, systematically claiming threatening behavior, intimidation tactics, community disruption, dangerous veteran stereotype perpetuation. Blood immediately dangerously rushed to my brain, PTSD triggered by confrontational situation. Listen extremely carefully, I said, looking directly inside camera professionally, military-bearing automatic response. I proudly fought for this country. Multiple deployments overseas defending freedom. Now, I'm legitimately protecting my own home, under constitutional rights under American law. Linda Hartwell is conducting systematic harassment against veteran family, poisoning innocent animals with criminal intent, directly threatening family through intimidation, criminal behavior obviously documented. Comprehensive evidence available, documentation complete with timestamps. Security footage clearly showed undeniable proof of criminal activity. Creek poisoning video, time-stamped, and dated with metadata. License plate clearly visible, identity confirmed through records. Timestamps absolutely accurate, chain of evidence maintained according to legal standards. Jessica's facial expression immediately dramatically changed, story shifting rapidly from veteran criticism to criminal investigation. This is extremely serious accusation. Criminal charges definitely possible if evidence substantiated. Not accusation whatsoever, I said firmly, voice steady with military confidence. Evidence concrete and documented. Documentation comprehensive and legally admissible. Proof undeniable by any reasonable standard. That evening, news broadcast was widely aired across region, community watching with interest. But Linda was strategically ready. Counter-narrative carefully prepared by professional public relations consultant. Expert manipulation tactics. Tearful interview with professional performance worthy of Academy Award. I'm just desperately trying to protect peaceful community, defending vulnerable neighbors from dangerous elements. This dangerous, unstable veteran is making serious threats against law-abiding citizens, recklessly endangering innocent animals through negligence, systematically terrorizing entire neighborhood with military tactics. Very convincing emotional performance, manipulation, expert-level execution, perfectly playing victim role with crocodile tears. Comments section was dramatically divided, community split down middle, some enthusiastically supporting me as fellow veteran, others completely believing Linda through emotional manipulation. Psychological warfare, powerful tool. Public opinion battle lines drawn, manipulation versus evidence, emotion versus facts. But my evidence was significantly stronger than emotional appeals. Truth would eventually win. Justice prevailing through legal system. Media attention's most absolutely devastating impact was directly on Tommy at school environment. At school, children asking cruel questions designed to hurt. Social situation becoming impossible daily. Is your dad really crazy like news saying? Is your dad actually dangerous like lady claiming? Is your family genuinely weird, different, scary to normal people? Tommy was already severely struggling with social situations due to autism with overwhelming stimulation. Now additional stress was completely unbearable for developing mind. He'd come home crying uncontrollably in evenings, emotional breakdown daily occurrence, social anxiety through roof. Dad, why does absolutely everyone hate us? Why can't we be normal family like everyone else? Heart absolutely breaking moment. Fatherhood tested by circumstances. Son, sometimes bad people systematically try to deliberately hurt good people for personal gain. But we're on morally right side with truth supporting us. Truth will eventually win, justice prevailing through legal system designed to protect families. But privately, serious doubts were creeping, confidence shaking like earthquake. Linda's campaign was extremely effective at character assassination, successfully manipulating community opinion, socially isolating my family from neighborhood support, psychological pressure becoming absolutely unbearable for entire family. Sarah's physical health was rapidly deteriorating from severe stress with visible symptoms, losing significant weight from inability to eat, chronic sleep problems with nightmares, anxiety attacks increasing frequency and intensity, requiring medical intervention. Jake, maybe we should immediately move before this destroys us, she said tearfully, desperation obvious in voice and posture. This destructive fight is systematically destroying us from inside. Is Carlos's memory really worth this devastating price for family stability? I gave firm response immediately, military resolve unshakable. Carlos carefully preserved this sacred land for family through decades of hard work. I will never betray his precious legacy under any circumstances. But privately at nights, I clearly heard Sarah's heartbroken crying through thin walls. Linda's psychological strategy was definitely working. Family unity cracking under pressure. Linda's legal strategy was absolutely brilliant. Professional execution rivaling corporate law firms. Property line officially filed for $47,000 accumulated violations. Legal language intimidating to average citizen. Her brother-in-law, Gary, effectively used his financial connections at First National Bank for inside information, pressure coordinated from multiple directions. Professionally suggesting risk assessment to my mortgage company. Financial pressure coordinated from multiple fronts like military campaign. Even affording lawyer Michael Torres consultation fee was increasingly challenging. Veteran disability pension, severely limited budget constraints creating desperate situation. Michael Torres provided brutally realistic assessment, legal reality, harsh truth. Jake, this lien is extremely serious threat, foreclosure definitely possible if payment missed. If you absolutely can't make payment, property foreclosure imminent risk. Family homelessness possible within months. Violations obviously fake, but legal process unfortunately real. Bureaucracy grinding forward regardless of truth. You definitely need to prove in court, expensive and uncertain process. Time-consuming legal procedures, mounting bills creating financial pressure, uncertain outcome never guaranteed in complex cases. But alternative options definitely also existed, hope remaining for justice. If you successfully prove elder fraud, RICO lawsuit definitely possible, federal charges potential against criminal organization. Systematic fraud pattern could trigger federal prosecution. Justice Department involvement bringing serious resources. What exactly is RICO? I desperately asked. Legal education needed immediately. Racketeering Influence Corrupt Organizations Act, originally specifically designed by federal government for organized crime, but directly applicable to HOA fraud with established precedent. Multiple victims required for federal case. Financial crimes pattern documented across time. Systematic elderly targeting showing criminal enterprise. Federal prosecution definitely possible with serious prison time. Complete restitution mandatory. Criminal organization dismantled permanently. But you absolutely need to find multiple additional victims. Case strengthening through community cooperation. Neighborhood extremely quiet investigation systematically started. Discretion essential for safety. Maria Gonzalez, 89-year-old widow struggling to survive on fixed income. Linda imposed devastating $2,000 fine for absurd grass height violation. If I absolutely can't pay, immediate risk of losing home, lifetime savings threatened by bureaucratic extortion, impossible amount with fixed income, Social Security insufficient for basic needs. Tom Bradley, decorated Iraq veteran with Purple Heart, military honors. Flagpole lawsuit aggressively filed, constitutional rights directly challenged. Proudly served 2 dangerous tours defending democracy, constitutional right to patriotically display flag, questioned by bureaucrats. Young Rodriguez family, working class, struggling economically. Innocent children's chalk drawings on sidewalk absurdly considered unauthorized vandalism. Childhood activities criminalized by power-hungry officials. $300 penalty crushing family budget, choosing between legal fees and groceries. Pattern absolutely clearly emerging. Systematic targeting, obvious to trained observer. Linda was deliberately specifically targeting elderly and veterans. Vulnerability calculated like predator selecting weakest prey. Vulnerable populations with severely limited resources, highly susceptible to intimidation, minimal legal knowledge, reduced fighting capacity. Strategy completely deliberate, methodical, absolutely predatory like criminal enterprise. Organized theft disguised as community service. Systematically collecting evidence, carefully documenting witness testimonies, methodically building legal case, preparing federal prosecution with military precision. I carefully showed property deed to legal expert for professional consultation, expertise required for complex case. Attorney Diana Kim, specialized property law expert from Austin with excellent reputation in complex cases. Jake, this is absolutely extraordinary legal document. Rare comprehensive rights seldom seen in modern deeds. Water rights completely exclusive in perpetuity. Mineral rights absolutely comprehensive for all subsurface resources. Historical precedent strong for enforcement. Property boundary extending exactly 60 feet further west than official current survey. Original survey markers historically significant. Linda's entire elaborate garden compound definitely criminally situated on your legally owned land. Obvious trespass violation. My breath completely stopped. Implications absolutely staggering for case outcome. For exactly 3 years, Linda had been systematically trespassing while simultaneously accusing me of violations. Hypocrisy incredible beyond belief. Garden installation completely unauthorized theft. property violation obvious to legal expert. Criminal trespass continuous for years, but significantly more revelation coming. Legal bombshell about to explode. Diana continued carefully examining historical documents, expert analysis revealing truth. HOA formation's legal basis completely invalid, foundational fraud undermining entire organization. Cross-reference with Carlos's official death certificate, signature forgery absolutely obvious to trained eye, criminal conspiracy proven. Formation documents completely fake, authority non-existent under law. Entire HOA organization legally completely non-existent, authority absolutely zero under state regulations. No legitimate right to impose fines, no legal standing whatsoever in court system. Criminal conspiracy obvious to prosecutor, elder fraud systematic across multiple victims. Organized theft disguised as community service. In my hands I had legal atomic bomb, case-ending evidence that would destroy Linda's operation. But timing was absolutely crucial, strategy paramount for maximum effect. Premature revelation could definitely give Linda escape opportunity. Evidence destroyed before trial. Patient strategy definitely required. Setting trap with military precision. District Attorney Maria Rodriguez, meeting carefully arranged federal prosecution, seriously discussed with optimism. In Texas, elder fraud is capital offense. Serious prison time mandatory for conviction. Multiple victims, RICO charges definitely possible. Federal jurisdiction bringing unlimited resources. Comprehensive evidence presentation absolutely required, professional standards maintained throughout. Ranch meeting strategically organized in neutral environment, home field advantage for comfortable discussion. Official government business, definitely not personal vendetta, but seeking justice for community. Rodriguez had excellent reputation as serious prosecutor, had successfully handled previous HOA fraud cases, expertise proven in similar situations. Tuesday exactly 2 p.m. meeting precisely scheduled. Official appointment confirmed multiple times. Black government SUV professional appearance, official entourage impressive with state authority. Briefcase comprehensively prepared with evidence, presentation ready for detailed examination. Actively seeking perfect example cases for HOA reform legislation, precedent setting for future protection. Perfect timing for Linda's inevitable final mistake, trap carefully set like military operation. At exactly appointment time, punctual arrival, gravel crunching sound of official car approaching driveway. Rodriguez's vehicle definitely expected, professional demeanor impressive, but absolutely additional arrival completely simultaneous, timing suspicious beyond coincidence. Linda's distinctive white BMW SUV aggressively pulling into driveway at angry speed, dust cloud dramatic like movie scene. Coincidence absolutely impossible given circumstances. Timing deliberately planned. Confrontation obviously intended. Setup absolutely perfect for evidence gathering. While Rodriguez was courteously engaged in professional greeting with state business, Linda absolutely furiously exited vehicle like avenging angel, aggressively waving clipboard above head-like weapon, projecting authority through body language. Jake Martinez immediate compliance inspection absolutely mandatory, she screamed with voice carrying across property. This unauthorized gathering seriously violates occupancy regulations according to association bylaws. Community standards, enforcement absolutely necessary for neighborhood safety. Community protection, paramount concern, requiring immediate action. Linda completely oblivious to professional woman, standing directly beside me. Tunnel vision harassment, consuming rational thought. Government plates totally ignored despite obvious significance. Official appearance completely dismissed in rage. Exclusively focused on harassment like obsessed stalker, entirely missing bigger picture. Perfect trap, absolutely set up for maximum evidence gathering, cameras rolling. District Attorney displayed official badge with state authority, jurisdiction absolutely clear. Ma'am, you're actively committing felony trespassing in presence of Texas's chief prosecutor, Rodriguez said coldly. Legal consequences extremely serious. Immediate arrest definitely possible. Identity verification immediately needed for official business. Cooperation required. Linda's face underwent dramatic color changes with multiple rapid transformations. Initially white with shock like ghost, subsequently green with nausea like seasickness. Hands visibly trembling, clipboard dropping to ground, authority crumbling in real time. I'm just conducting legitimate HOA official business according to bylaws, she stammered desperately. Authority completely legitimate. rights established through proper legal channels. Are you specifically Linda Hartwell? Rodriguez's cold professional inquiry cutting through confusion. We're actively investigating HOA president for systematic elder fraud through multiple agencies. Financial crimes extensively documented, property theft conclusively proven, elderly abuse charges definitely pending through federal system. Multi-agency investigation ongoing with FBI cooperation. Fraud word like lightning strike with devastating impact on Linda. Linda's entire body dramatically recoiling, disbelief expressing through facial contortions, reality crashing down mercilessly. This is all malicious lies, baseless conspiracy theory against law-abiding citizen, she protested desperately. Dangerous, unstable veteran targeting innocent law-abiding citizens through false accusations. Documentation proof, positive available, supporting my position. Extremely interesting perspective, Rodriguez replied with prosecutor's coldness. Because comprehensive evidence collection already completed through months of investigation, federal case building systematically, hours of security footage documented with timestamps, financial records proving exactly $340,000, systematic embezzlement across multiple accounts, witness testimonies of systematic harassment campaigns, forensic analysis proving forged signatures on legal documents, federal investigation comprehensive with unlimited resources. Property deed dramatically unfolded like courtroom evidence, truth revealed for all to see. Linda's precious elaborate garden boundaries clearly falling outside legal property lines. Exactly 3 years continuous criminal trespassing while attempting property theft through bureaucratic manipulation. Irony absolutely delicious. Criminal activity thoroughly documented with photographic evidence. Linda desperately snatched deed with trembling hands, frantic examination like drowning person. Eyes rapidly scanning legal language, reality crushing down mercilessly like avalanche. This is absolutely impossible. Legal documents obviously fake fabrication, she insisted desperately. Conspiracy theory designed to frame innocent community leader. Elaborate setup obvious. Federal investigation absolutely comprehensive. Multi-agency cooperation, including FBI resources. Agents systematically interviewing multiple victims across 3 counties. Criminal pattern definitively established. Evidence completely overwhelming. Prosecution absolutely certain, with conviction likely. RICO charges filing prepared immediately through federal system. Criminal conspiracy conclusively proven. Elderly abuse extensively documented. Systematic fraud obvious to any reasonable observer. Federal prison sentence 8 to 15 years. Mandatory minimum under sentencing guidelines. Handcuffs officially produced by federal agent. Arrest imminent and unavoidable. Linda Hartwell, immediate arrest under federal charges under U.S. Code. Miranda rights constitutionally required. Constitutional rights reading commenced. Legal process following federal procedures exactly. Linda's blood-curdling scream dramatically echoed across entire hill country valleys. Defeat obvious to all observers. Mixture of denial, uncontrollable rage, absolute desperation, total control lost publicly. Community watching dramatic conclusion unfold. Justice finally served after months of suffering. Federal law enforcement, constitutional rights protection, evidence-based prosecution system working exactly as designed. FBI investigation comprehensively continued exactly 6 months with unlimited federal resources. Linda's extensive fraud network, shocking discovery affecting multiple states. 12 different HOAs systematically targeted across Texas and California, 200-plus victims identified through careful investigation, $2.3 million total theft documented through financial forensics. Court proceedings generated significant media attention nationwide. National news highlighting HOA fraud epidemic. Legislative reform demanded. Congressional hearings mandatory, systematic reform required for industry. Sentencing hearing absolutely dramatic. Courtroom packed with victims and media. Multiple victims delivered powerful impact statements. Community healing beginning visibly. Maria Gonzalez, tearful testimony about financial devastation and fear. Tom Bradley honoring military service. Constitutional rights protection importance. Community healing beginning process. Faith in justice system restored after corruption. Federal judge imposed maximum sentence. Justice comprehensively served. 8 years. Federal prison, mandatory minimum. Full restitution, absolutely mandatory with interest. Professional licenses permanently revoked nationwide. Gary Roberts' additional federal counts for bank conspiracy charges. Property assets completely liquidated for victim compensation. Justice comprehensive and complete. Restitution fund distribution, exactly $125,000 received, financial justice restored. Legal fees completely covered through criminal forfeiture, damages fully compensated, ranch improvements funded properly. Maria Gonzalez home permanently saved, financial security restored for elderly widow. Tom Bradley flagpole proudly displaying constitutional rights, military honor protected. Community healing definitely beginning, neighborhood trust slowly restored. Ranch peace completely restored to Carlos's original vision perfectly. Family legacy preserved. Tommy Daly providing Rusty care with loving responsibility. Character building through animal care. Animals healthy, happy, absolutely thriving under proper care. Life force restored. Sarah vegetable garden enthusiastically expanding with therapeutic benefits. Healing process continuing naturally. Stress completely eliminated from family environment. Bonding strengthened dramatically through adversity overcome. Evening creekside coffee ritual, peaceful sounds absolutely perfect. Loon calls echoing across valley, water gently rippling, Tommy's genuine laughter filling air. Memorial garden beautifully created on Linda's former illegal trespass site. Transformation symbolically powerful. Community effort with 30-plus neighbors enthusiastically participating, unity restored through shared purpose. Carlos's distinguished military service honoring appropriately, Vietnam veteran memorial stone professionally placed. Native plants and indigenous flowers creating natural beauty. Symbolic healing through community cooperation. Justice prevailing over corruption. Justice completely served effectively through legal system. Family protected absolutely under constitutional law. Legacy preserved proudly for future generations. Legal precedent definitely established for similar cases. Legislative reform triggered appropriately protecting homeowners. Community genuinely healed through shared struggle. And Linda, last week she wrote a letter from prison. It started with, "I'm sorry. I threw the letter in the trash without reading it. Some things are too late to apologize for." Tommy is now 18 and studying veterinary medicine. "Dad," he said last week, "what Linda did to us taught me that staying silent is never an option. We have to protect the vulnerable." After that poisoning incident, he became even more determined about protecting animals. Sarah's garden is now one of the most beautiful organic gardens in the region. Every evening at sunset, I watch her happily watering tomatoes. "I never thought," she says with a smile, "that the pain Linda caused us would turn into something so beautiful." Federal court ordered $2.3 million in compensation. I used that money to establish a fund for HOA victims. Maria Gonzalez no longer fears losing her home. Tom Bradley proudly flies his flag. Rusty is still Tommy's closest friend. He's 15 years old, but runs like a young colt when Tommy comes. Dr. Williams says at every checkup, "This horse has a warrior spirit, just like his owner." Carlos's spirit is at peace. Now, when I drink my coffee by the creek, I feel him smiling proudly. Justice was served, family was protected, legacy was preserved. Linda will serve 8 years. I'll continue drinking my coffee here by the creek. Sometimes the greatest victory is simply doing what's right. What do you think is the biggest lesson from this story? Share your thoughts in the comments. Have you experienced an HOA nightmare? Share your experiences to help other viewers fight against systematic fraud. Hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, because we're building a community of people who refuse to be intimidated by petty tyrants. Remember, standing up to bullies doesn't just protect you, it protects everyone who comes after you. Sometimes the best revenge is living well and helping others do the same. Truth always wins when properly presented with evidence and persistence. Constitutional rights matter. Veterans deserve respect. Families deserve protection. Communities can heal from corruption when good people choose courage over convenience.